And my father
Start
always
with
said,
their
"When you think
excuses.
you
I like power differentiation.
I have a hard time
It is time to be fearless.
For past 15 years, I've been thinking about this topic of culture and conflict resolution. How do we resolve conflict across cultures? How do we apply culture to mediation and arbitration and negotiation? I live in two cultures. I grew up in Punjab, India, a land known for its spiritual and cultural identity. I now live in Salem, Oregon, a land known for its beautiful Willamette Valley and almost perfect family values. I started teaching law at the age of 24. Teaching is in my family. My father is a retired law professor, but president of a university in India. He and I constantly discuss negotiation across cultures. We discuss which negotiation has to occur how and culture compatibility. At the end of the day, I let him win or he wins, and you can see why. A few months ago, my father and I were chatting over the phone. We were discussing something. We were discussing his lecture. He said, I just gave a 4-hour-long lecture. And friends, as you know, here in US, we law teachers typically give 3 or 4 hours long lectures. So I was wondering, why is that an important thing? After a pause, he goes, the lecture was meant to be for 2 hours. I felt connected to students, so I went on for 4 hours. I wondered if I ever will be able to do that in the US. To my American thinking, that almost seemed impossible. How can you flex time from 2 to 4 hours? To my Indian thinking, it seems perfectly fine. A person with the power, a president of a college, wanted to give a lecture that went on from 2 to 4 hours. Culture shapes the way we see time. For example, some of you came here early today, 9 o'clock. That was time for you. Some of you came at 8:45. And a few of you would have been here at 8:30 or 7 o'clock or 7:30. We all see time differently. In 2010, my first child, Apar, was born. You see, my mother visited from India to stay with us for 4 months. As many of you know, it's a blessing when your mother comes and helps you with your first child. After she left, a neighbor of mine, who, like me, came from India, came over to me and said, your mother was here, that was very helpful, great. Has she already left? That's a short visit. I didn't think of that comment too much. After about a few days later, when my American neighbor comes over to me and says, your mother has left? Man, that was a long visit. Culture also shapes the way we communicate. Let me take you back a little more in time. In 2007, I was teaching in Minneapolis. And as you know, in January, it gets a little bit colder in Minneapolis. So we were stuck inside a building, I remember vividly. And I'm walking past in corridors for my students. And my students look at me and they say, Professor Singh, how's your day going? And I stop, and I want to talk to them. My day is going great. I'm actually not liking the weather outside, and this is what my wife talked to me in the morning, and they will not stop, and they'll continue going. And after a few of these interactions, I learned they actually wanted to say hi to me. In some cultures, we have this overemphasis on words. In others, we do not. Allow me to take you from a different dimension on the same topic. Not only individually we see communication differently, but collectively as a society. If you take a look at this picture, which some of you may of course be aware of, you see a lot of signs on roads here in Oregon and the US. Different color signs. Now they fascinate me because where I grew up, we did not have such colorful or such elaborated signs. We had signs like these, however, which are far and few in between. And if you look at them closely, they have misspelling in it. So I asked my friends, how come this sign in New Delhi has a misspelling? And here comes my friend, who's a practicing lawyer in New Delhi, says, it's not that the sign has a problem, it's that you're reading it. Culture also adds different emphasis on nonverbal communication. You see, in some cultures, we can share volumes without saying a word. In India and in other cultures around the world, we have this gesture of folded hands and bent body position. What means to us is respect and humility. A wonderful greeting that we don't do to everybody when we feel connected, respectful, we do it to our audience. In this picture, you'll see me standing next to my father, almost a similar gesture in front of a Supreme Court judge in a state in India. I'm not saying anything, but I'm speaking a lot. That's just one gesture, friends. The other gesture that you should all know about is a gesture of touching the feet. If my father is standing next to me right now, assume he is, and I saw him after 5 or 6 months, I won't shake hand like this or like this. I'll bend down and touch his feet, or almost his feet, and do this, and he'll touch my shoulder, and he'll say, "Bless you, son," or "Have a nice day," we don't even exchange a word, yet we speak volumes. Now, you should know, culture changes over generations. So I've been observing teenagers in my culture. How do they do it? So I've seen they actually do the same thing, but a little differently. When they see their parents, "Hey, Dad, how you doing?" There is a bend. It's just a little different bend. What my thinking alludes me to is that we have this subconscious platform that all of us have, which is driven by our worldviews, our upbringing, our family. That's what I call cultural thinking. We don't think about this cultural thinking all the time. It's like a software that programs us, that runs us. Above it is cultural interest, like what is our comfort zone, what time and space we are comfortable with. But what we see in people is the communication. What is fascinating me the most for last 15 years is this question. How does our culture influence our decision making? As you know, in negotiation, mediation, I have to push clients to come to a decision, hopefully an amicable decision. What better example than example across cultures of an event almost all of us think or do at some point in our life, marriage. If you take a look at this picture, you will see a couple sitting on something. They're actually sitting on a swing. In next few moments, they're gonna get pushed by an elder family member. So they're gonna go upswing and they're gonna go downswing, right? This is, by the way, from South India. And then the elder family member is gonna ask them a question. What did you do when you were upswing? They're gonna give some wrong answers, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, I think we held our hands stronger." And the family member says, "That's what marriage is. You're going to have difficult times and easy times. Remember, when you're in difficult times, hold your hands stronger." I thought that was a wonderful way of showing how marriage is approached in some cultures. In some cultures, we fall in love and we get married. In others, we get married with the thinking that we may fall in love. This is a picture of one of my friend's daughter getting married here this summer in Portland, close to Portland. And I wanted to show you the symmetry, the detail, the attention to detail they've given to all the things in this picture. One benefit they had was they had 45 guests, including me and my wife. My wedding in India had 1,100. In 2007, my sister, who lives in California, called me when I was in Minneapolis and says, "I have a match for you." And I'm thinking from my Indian mind saying, "Okay, sister, let's talk about this." She goes, "No, you're coming to Sacramento tomorrow, and we're going to have a meeting." So as we do in our collective culture, I listened to my sister. She's the oldest family member I had in US, so she acted like my mother in the absence of my mother. I flew down, I came to Sacramento, I met my sister and my to-be wife, and in this room, which is about 50 people, big living room, I'm supposed to talk to my wife. Finally, we had an alone time for about 45, maybe 40 minutes. In those 40 minutes, we had so many questions for each other. I asked her, "What's your philosophy of life?" Out of those 40 minutes, I walked out and I saw my sister and her family member standing in front of me, looking at me. I felt very persuaded. And then came the question, It is a yes, right? Now, friends, in those 40 minutes, I'd seen my wife smile once, and I knew it's a yes. So I said yes, but behind my mind, I would be lying if I don't share that I had a fear. The fear, what if it doesn't work out? What if this is not the right decision? My Indian thinking right now is dancing with joy. You are sharing your responsibility with all these family members. How can you be wrong? And if you are wrong, they're all sharing the responsibility. But my American thinking is feeling stripped of this independence, autonomy in decision making. What I learned is that we have these two different kinds of brains. All of us have them. And some of us pay more attention to the collective of us, the family owner, and the other of us pay more attention to the independent of us. And of course, across the world, the differences are even larger. In conclusion, I want to share a few things with you, friends. First, I think we must listen to cultural interests to learn about them. Cultural interests mean, how do cultures see time, space, comfort? How do they decide? It's not just listening, we must listen with the right intent. I can listen to you with an intent to disagree with you. I should listen to you with the intent of learning and curiosity and maybe agree with you. In negotiation literature in the US, we typically see this model that one person speaks, one person listens, and we come to a resolution. I agree with that model, but allow me to add my last thought to it. I think that's a great model, but I think we should listen, as I already said, with the right intent. We should talk with the right attitude. You can shut down a person or open a person up with the right question. Allow me to take you further back in time. And my last story, in 2005, I was in San Francisco airport on my arrival in the US. A young girl came up to me looking at my purple turban, and she goes, "Excuse me, that's a beautiful color. Why are you wearing it?" And I gave her a 30-minute answer. 3 years later, I was having a mediation, and a gentleman walks up to me and goes, "Hey, that thing, why?" I gave a 1-minute answer. It's the same question, asked differently. So I leave you with this thought of respect. We can make people open about any culture. The question is, are you willing to accept their culture? If yes, they're willing to accept your culture. So my students ask me, how do you break this code of cross-cultural communication and dispute resolution? I tell them I do not have all the answers. The only answer I have is, speak with respect, and when you speak, bring your presence, bring your heart, your mind, and your soul, and the chances are you will be able to resolve the dispute. Thank you for your time and presence.